Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. I am Amanda Cromhope from Truth Loyalty and the Blind Loyalty Trust. We interview world leaders in loyalty blindly. The challenge is about creating loyalty insight spontaneously and about a lot of fun. Simultaneously, it is about raising the awareness of the Blind Loyalty Trust, and 100% of the proceeds from my book, Blind Loyalty 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified, go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. I think anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love doing the Blind Loyalty Challenge, and this is a Blind Loyalty Challenge that I've been looking forward to. Why? Because we promised to do it live while we were in Dubai a few months ago, but we restrained ourselves to do it with a bit more decorum behind the screen. So I have on today's Blind Loyalty Challenge Dave Andreadakis. He's the Chief Commercial Officer at Loyalty Juggernaut, but I'm very informed that actually Chief Commercial Officer is a big title, but he really is a guru in loyalty strategy and loyalty innovation. So Dave, welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
It's great to be here, Amanda. I'm so excited to have this conversation. I've seen many of these. I've obviously seen your work. I love you on stage, and it's going to be really fun to have this conversation. I have no idea what's coming, and that's part of the whole thing right here is the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Put the blindfold on and I'll smack you with the questions. So here we go. So
Let's go.
your first question is actually set by a client of Loyalty Juggernaut just by chance. So it's set by Pablo Marcias from Viva Aerobus. And his question was, how do you measure success in a partnership where it's a two-way earn and burn relationship?
Oh, such a great question and with a hard answer. Like when it's a two-way earn and burn, part of what we want to see is parity. You need to see some equity going back and forth that feels like it's the right kind of relationship. Just like any relationship, the whole notion of reciprocity is that if it gets imbalanced in any way, shape, or form, there's going to be resentment or there's going to be lack of commitment, and people just kind of may fade away. The same things hold true for businesses. If you're measuring something, my very first answer is it's got to be the same thing. So if one side of that partnership is looking for new member acquisition and the other one is looking for revenue, then that could get imbalanced pretty quickly because they don't
Yeah.
equal the same thing. Maybe one is looking for, I want great, strong members, and the other one is like, I just want a higher headcount. Well, that could be a problem also because maybe you want fewer members. So aligning on what your objectives are that you're working on together is going to be the very first way to find success in the program. So that alignment is going to do more for you than actually saying, here's how we're going to measure the alignment, because you're always going to find new ways to influence and encourage that thing to happen. So one, align on what it is. The second is, I do think that there's a bit of a trinity of things you should measure in a
Yeah.
partnership. You should definitely measure the monetary value that you're getting out of that partnership. The second is commitment. Like, are they as committed to your goals as you are to theirs? This is harder to measure, but it is so evident in every meeting that you're going to have. But the third one, the most important one of all, is what do your customers think about this? Like, ask your customers how they feel about the partnership. Are they getting any value? Do they see this as a brand distraction or brand enhancement? So if you're doing any kind of customer satisfaction survey, definitely ask them about the partnerships and
Yeah.
if you're hitting it on the mark.
Yeah, stunning. Look, it was a serious question, and that was a very hard-hitting, serious answer. So I think maybe we need to go a bit lighter on you because this is like a fun conversation. So the second question
I'll
is one
lighten
of
it
my
up.
favorites. And in Blind Loyalty, we've got two chapters that cover points expiry and another one that covers liability. And
Yeah.
liability, we have Len Laguno as a contributor to the chapter, famous Len Laguno.
Yeah.
So what's your view on points expiry and how brands panic about the dynamic between expiry and liability?
Ooh, it's such a big topic, and you had to invoke the name of Len here. So now I know he's going to listen to this, and I
Now
better
you're under
prepare
pressure.
Look, Len is he's an absolute legend. He's a friend of mine, and I appreciate everything that he contributes to this industry. So I'm going to take this question seriously. Look, when it comes to liability, there's good liability and bad liability. You have an expense that you're incurring, and it's you're hoping that's going to lead to something else that's good and positive. So that's an investment. That's how we describe every investment in our lives, whether it's I'm investing in a human for my relationship, or I'm investing in maybe an education for my future revenue gains. Or as you and I were talking off channel at one point, maybe it's just interesting to us and we enjoy that investment. Well, liability for loyalty program purposes should do the same thing for us. We're doing this for a reason. It's complex, and we should be able to measure its impact. If we're just measuring the impact, though, we're completely missing the point.
Mhm.
That's like just running around saying everything's risky. Well, of course it's risky, but what's the payoff? What are you hoping to get? And by the way, did you enjoy the journey? That's a big part about being human,
Yeah.
is not the here's what it cost and here's what I got out of it, but did you learn something about your customers? Did they get closer to you along the way? Like all of those things really do matter. So I have a hard time getting really finite with measurement around loyalty expiration and things like that, because it's purpose driven. But I will say this: when you do set an expiration, it is a mechanism of a loyalty program, and it's going to achieve specific things. It's going to create a burning platform where your customers are going to feel, gee, I have to act. And if I don't take the if I don't act in a certain period of time, my points will disappear. Nobody likes that kind of feeling. Well, if you push that a little bit too hard, you're definitely going to disappoint your customers and they're not going to be happy. But if you go too light, it's not going to actually motivate the behaviors that you want. So this is a big old it depends kind of question, but I love exploring this one. I absolutely do.
It depends. You're not allowed to say that. I'm reading a book at the moment called The Psychology of Money,
Okay.
and it talks a lot around the successful wealthy have this ability to manage risk. So you talked about the risk, and if all you panic about is sort of the risk of liability, you're never going to get anything off the ground. But it's absolutely fascinating how the really wealthy don't panic about risk, but they're not really big risk takers. So it's quite interesting you brought risk
Interesting.
into it. And we were talking about consumer psychology earlier. So,
Yes.
okay, the last question is super easy, although it might feel harder because I'm going to ask you to talk about your own loyalty experience. So, what has been the single most compelling loyalty experience you've had as a consumer?
Oh my gosh, this is a great question. And the reason why it's a great question is because there's a lot of obvious answers, especially as industry professionals. We want to say things like the big named programs. I'm going to tell you the most compelling program that I have ever been involved with. And it's as a consumer. I've done no work for this company at all. And it happened well before I had any education in loyalty. And it is the Stewart's Milk Club card in upstate New York. And what the heck is this program? Well, it's a simple program. It's a punch card of sorts
Love it.
where you buy, five, I don't even know anymore. It's been so long, 5 gallons of milk or 10 gallons of milk, and you get one for free. But the compelling part of this is that milk is a bit of a commodity, and there's so many places where you can buy milk. How can they take this commoditized thing and turn it into one of the most emotional loyalty programs out there? It's by a simple mechanism that didn't require any technology at all, and that was that they had behind the counter they had a bunch of different buckets that have all the cards A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you leave your card there with them. And so I'm Dave Andreadakis, and so I'm in the A's. My card is sitting there. And so every time I wanted to buy some milk, they'd have to grab my card, they'd have to ask me my name. And the same few people that are behind that counter every single time got to know who I was. They got to know the type of milk. They got to know the number of units of milk, a half gallon, a gallon. And they'd see me coming in and they'd say, "Hey, Dave." And when I think
Oh,
about
cool.
loyalty programs that have tried to personalize and tried to give me that "Hey Dave" experience, every single one of them has fallen somewhat short because it's something that's become mechanical versus
Mhm.
something that's been real. And so the lesson that I get from this is, no matter what your mechanism is, find a way to create real relationships between your customers and the brand. And if you can do that, everything else will fall in place. I liked going there not because I was going to get that 10th gallon of milk for free, but because I walked in and they called me by name and they knew all
That's
about
super.
me. That's been
That
my favorite experience.
Steward's Milk Club, that definitely hasn't been mentioned on Blind Loyalty before. I love it. Awesome. I love it. And it's very personal. So thank you. It's fantastic. Okay. As I expected, you cruised through it. It must be the 20 Diet Cokes you've already had this morning. For everyone listening to this, Dave and I didn't know this, but we have this shared passion of Diet Coke, which is absolutely dreadful to admit up to. But anyway, one of those things. Rather that than a shared passion of too much alcohol or whatever. So,
Of
okay.
course.
Dave, who would you like to tag to do the blind loyalty challenge next?
Oh, I've got a good one for you. His name is Mark Reed with Enterprise. And I think you know Mark, right?
Yeah, lovely. Great. Great,
Yeah,
great,
Mark
great.
Mark is fantastic. He's just got a great insight on the world in general, loyalty, and he's great when it comes to music. So I very much looking forward to hearing what he has to say during the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
I see there's music behind you. I'm a bit lost in music, so I better not actually ask him any questions about music, so I know what the hell he's saying. And what question you might not be, I might not be asking Mark this because it depends who I interview next, but find me a super hard because you guys can ask the hard questions, then I'm not the badass. It's a hard question.
All right, this is in all fairness, you should be able to ask anyone this question, but it is actually geared towards female leaders in this space. And depending on the geography, this can be a pretty male dominated industry. And you've been quite successful in your career in loyalty and consulting and all the great things that you do. But I am very interested and increasingly interested in hearing from women leaders what advice they have for young female professionals in a male dominated industry, how to shine, how to be successful, how to not give up on your principles, and to keep moving forward. It is such a rich, robust set of resources that I think is underutilized in many industries. And I'm very interested to hear who you choose to ask this to and what their answer is.
Yeah, super great. I actually did a webinar last year with a few of us from the Let's Talk Loyalty show. So Paula, Charlie, and Carly on the women in network, and this question
Oh,
came.
it's
My
great.
answer is just ignore the fact that it's a male-dominated industry and just get on with it. But but that's
I love that.
a little bit shallow. But anyway. Okay, Dave, thank you so, so much. I will be on to Mark Reed. He's a stunning guy. It'll be great fun. And thank you for doing the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. I love talking with you, and I look forward to seeing this on air.